A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have come not to abolish, but to fulfill. Amen, I say to you, until heaven and earth pass away, not the smallest letter or the smallest part of a letter will pass from the law, until all things have taken place. Therefore, whoever breaks one of the least of these commandments and teaches others to do so will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever obeys and teaches these commandments will be called greatest in the kingdom of heaven." The Gospel of the Lord. The movie The Snake Pit concerns the fate of mentally ill in old-fashioned insane asylums. In one scene, a young man buys a small rug for the asylum's recreation room, but the attendants of the asylum make the patients walk around the rug to keep it from getting dirty. So the patients always circle around it. Therein, the whole purpose of the rug is lost. In today's gospel, Jesus makes a similar point, reminding his disciples that he came not to abolish the law or the prophets, but to serve the law. We might ask ourselves, when do we run the risk of putting law or things ahead of people in our everyday dealings? The Chinese have a wonderful proverb that says it is better to be kind at home than to burn incense in a distant place. We are at the 18th day of a 40-day period of almsgiving, fasting, and praying. It is a good time to check in because, as we learned so early from Ash Wednesday in the initial weeks of Lent, that God desires mercy and not sacrifice, to try to gauge how well we are doing at changing our heart and rending not our garments, but our heart towards God. One of the goals of Lent ought to be to make us more loving. And in order to do that, we need to look into our heart. For often there are very valid reasons for exercising what seems like a clear and direct resentment. Again and again, we may find it hard to hold in check the sharp retort, the biting comeback, when it seems that someone has done violence to our self-respect or decent regard. How natural it seems for us to give as good as we get, to take nothing lying down, to announce firmly and sundry in 1,000 ways that no one can run over us and get away with it. But all this is part of the thicket in which my heart gets caught again and again. Deep within us, we all want to be more loving in our hearts, to glow with a warmth that will take the chill off a room, which I share with those whose lives touch mine in the traffic of my comings and goings. I wish to be more loving. I wish to be more loving in my heart. It is often easy to have the idea in mind, to plan to be more loving, to see it with our minds and give assent to the thought of being loving. That is not mistakable. But to want to be more loving in our heart, we must feel like loving. We must ease the tension in our heart that ejects the sharp barb, the stinging word, the comebacker. If we want to be more loving in our heart, that with unconscious awareness and deliberate intent, we shall be a kind and gracious human being, so that others who walk alongside us in our Lenten journey find it easier to be loving as well, to be more gracious because of the love of God, which is inexpressibly and increasingly expressed in our living. Do we really want to be more loving in our heart? Hopefully, we can regauge our interest in our heart's desires as we move into the second half of Lent.